All right. Hello, everybody who may be end up on this live. It is your girl, Angela Aries. Of course, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate having you here. This is a live stream, so if you're watching in replay, I just want to wait for some folks to come in to chat and discuss the positivity of saying no. I know this is a huge one. I know if you're like myself, or perhaps even like the collective kind of experience and energies, because, well, it's Witchy Wednesday after all. I really wanted to get into it. I was driving in my car today. I decided to do just a little bit of light shopping, nothing really serious, but I wanted to get some just little exercise things to keep up with my at-home weight loss. So mini little update there with the weight loss stuff, but getting some exercise bands really quick. And then also just getting this fun little thing to organize some things around the house. Because of course, with the spring weather, I don't know about where you are, but the spring weather here is so beautiful. It reached, it feels like almost 50, but yeah, so beautiful. So have a nice, very positive, yellow inspired outfit. I've got my little bee positive, so I have little bees on my ears. So that is the whole vibe. I have been, like I said before, I keep it real. I want to keep it honest with you guys, but yellow really represents to me just a very positive essence and flow and color. So even yellow hair tie, whatever, but and just trying to keep it positive against the low vibrational feeling energies. But I think it also could be adding to or be added by, I'm just looking at my calendar, which I didn't mark it, but I believe there is a new moon. I think it's on March 11th. And so the new moon in Pisces, I believe that it is. Now I got to go look it up. Um, let's see, new moon, March 2021. So I feel like, basically what I'm trying to say, oh, March 13th, excuse me. So it is a new moon coming up. The energies start 3 days before and 3 days after. You guys aren't new to this, but if you are new to my channel, I do kind of like the, witchy types of things. That is a part of my life. It's been a part of me since I was 13. That's when I was aware of it. And then even long before that, in the family. But anyhow, just being positive and trying to keep that positive vibration, keeping it upbeat, trying to stay away from that dark night of the soul kind of vibe. Because I think that, like I said, with that new moon energy coming up, it's really, kind of getting more intense. So, I feel like a lot of emotions, obviously, as we transition into Aries season. And then, of course, being an Aries myself, I feel like that's just so heightened. But, and then we have the cyclical, cycles that's like, what is it, winter to fall or winter to spring. So we're kind of, symbolic with like Easter, M block, or I think it's M block. Where we're birthing new ideas. We're, coming out of our shells, so to speak. We're coming out of the darkness, coming out of a stagnant energy. So if you were feeling like uninspired, it will be even more not uninspired, you'll be more inspired, I would feel. But yeah, I just, like I said, was driving around and I wanted to get into a little story. So, fun fact about myself, when I was in high school, I tried out for cheerleading. And it's obviously probably going to come to much a surprise, more so probably stereotypically because of my shape. But anyways, like I said, tried out to be a cheerleader, and I went to the practices, I put my all in it, and I really believed in it and I wanted to do it, but I also like secretly didn't want to do the workouts. Sometimes like I love working out, and like this is what I found with myself is I love working out more as an adult now than when I was a kid, having to like follow along, do exactly what they're doing, like someone else makes me do it. But it's a good pressure too, because I like kind of found my strength and like what I really like to do with workouts. But anyway, so I tried out for cheerleading, and to me, looking back, if you're gonna do cheerleading, you've never done it before, you're brand new, I don't know if they still do it like this or it was particularly my school, but they had done the dance routine like last minute, like the third day. So the third day of cheerleading tryouts and practice and being like a part of it to see if you're gonna make the team. um wasn't familiar with dance. I just started, you know what I mean? Like I decided to try out, I think it was like my junior or senior year. Like I was almost done with high school anyway. And obviously somebody who's never done the dance thing professionally, like I dance with myself and have fun, but I don't know how to do like the cinnamon buns. I don't even know if I'm doing it right, but you guys know if you're a cheerleader, you know the cinnamon bun thing that I'm talking about. So they wanted us to have, this perfect like cinnamon buns. Yo, I'm about cinnamon buns, okay? Cheer. So, that was just like, whoa, super, super precise. And please forgive me if I'm messing up the cinnamon buns. But if you're in a dancing type of cheerleading thing, you'll understand. So then also with the pointing of the toes. So they're like, you don't point your toes enough. I'll show you an example. Oh my God, that is so inappropriate. Sorry, you guys. But I'm just trying to show you an idea of like, I don't have the space, but so they're like, point your toes. And now, funny enough, doing the burlesque thing on my Mistress Bubblegum page, it's like obviously overcome that and did well with that. Well, that kind of held me back. Still to this day, when I'm dancing, sometimes I work on my facial expressions and how I hold my face, whether when I'm taping, even videos, but more so when I'm dancing, because I still do like a serious face when I get really into it. And I'll be like, hmm. Especially this, like so they gave me 3 strikes for that. Like when it was the last day of the dance, like before tryouts, it was like, okay, 3rd day, I have to try to learn this overnight. I was trying to teach myself, learned it up into a point, and then I just did not get that last type of thing. It was like kind of crazy. It was like, um, I don't know, like the first half of the dance I was understanding, and then I was like watching the other girls and being like, crap. So they already had their minds made up about this other girl who was kind of already in with it. Like she already had been in cheerleading, but she was very, we'll say, dramatic, and that's fine, teach their own. But so she was already in, and because I was newer, I never did it before. I didn't make it on the team. And of course, like I said, there was it's very clicky, especially when you go to a small school or whatever, not to go back to high school vibes, but very, very clicky. So my point with this story, when they told me that I didn't make the team and everything for something silly. I kept my head high because I told myself before I went in there, because you win some and you lose some. And at the age of like, I don't know, 16, 17, 18, like I said, 16 to 18, we'll say, because I don't know if it was, like I said, junior, senior, but I know it was like towards my very last moments being in high school anyway, and saying, okay, now I'll finally give these like extracurricular activities a try. um, so anyways, that day that they told me, I was like, okay, if they tell me no, don't cry. Like I was like, don't cry. And crying is okay. Like please don't feel like you have to be so strong and like not cry or whatever. But to me, I told myself don't cry because I wanted to be strong. I wanted to show strength and perseverance and be like, this isn't going to affect me. It's not going to break me down. And then I found a sense of relief through hearing no. So this is the example of hearing no. So they told me no, and I was so sweet. I mean, I had a speech either way. Like if I made it to the team, I was like, thank you for the opportunity, whatever. So I was like, thank you guys so much. I smiled, I looked them right in the face, every one of them too, with a little bit of choking upness inside, but it was kind of like a sigh of relief because I didn't want to do the particular workouts, to be honest with you. So maybe there was that kind of like, how bad did I really want it? But with class and dignity, this is the tale that I want to tell and the inspiration. Um, I just was like, okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. This was really a great experience. Thank you so much. So I went out and, I go to meet my mom. And of course, I'm not sad or anything. I'm not having any obvious face as to what really happened. And, so people were asking me, they were like, oh my gosh, did you make the team? Like you made it. And I was like, no, I didn't make the team, with a smile. And my mom, I remember her being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so proud." Like, you like most people would be upset or whatever. And, lo and behold, this girl kind of cried her way into it, not to hate on it or anything. I'm not being rude, but it was kind of like, okay, they gave her a chance and they were like, "You've been doing it, sweetheart. So, you are the person who's gonna make it to the next thing, and they did their cuts or whatever. So it was, like, kind of weird because it's like they're bending for someone else who's feeling like, okay, and they've already been in it and, like, dedicated or whatever. But I really, like, put my all into it. I might not have been as good as the others or, whatever, like, but I was willing to work on it. Like, that's the thing with me, and I never gave myself enough credit for that when I was younger. So if you are this way, and we all are this way to an extent, but give yourself credit because when you show up and show out, don't feel bad. You know what I mean? If you're doing well, like I, personally was like, oh, if I'm doing good, then, someone else will feel bad. Or if I'm doing good and I get this part in a play, which this is a real story, by the way. The story I just told, and then this story that's coming up now. In sixth grade, I had my first chance and opportunity to actually go into drama club or theater. This is something that like family jokingly says to me my whole life, hey, you'd be perfect for this or whatever. So I finally go and give myself a chance, get the guts, because anyone knows if you've ever done any type of acting or like theater or any tryouts for anything or auditioning, it is so nerve-wracking, especially when everyone, particularly grows up and knows you, being in the small community I was in. They know you, they already have these like preconceived notions. I was a kid that had like a divorced family, so that was kind of weird, a little bit in those times. Not that the 90s were that far away, but so it was just like people already had their ideas and things, made up, and like I didn't look a certain way and whatever. But, I finally got the courage to go into this acting thing, and I got the part. I got a pretty really nice part, but I felt so bad because for one thing, it was like a guy part, and that's not why I felt bad, but there was a young man who wanted to be in the play really bad and wanted that part. And I just got so annoyed, in one sense, but also because he was upset too, he was crying. And I felt so bad, and I was like, "What the heck? Like, what's the point?" So I just said, "Whatever." And I put it in the back burner and I said, "I don't even want the part. I don't even want to be in theater. You have it." So then, of course, here I am like pushing myself aside. But, these things, it's like when you hear no, it's like in the instance of the cheerleading practice when I didn't get on the team. When you hear no, don't be upset because, of course, there's that little saying that's like, no only means next opportunity. And I want whoever is seeing this to remember that no only means next opportunity. So I didn't know that quote back then. I had no clue. I didn't hear it until like years later when I was like in my 20s or something. Like I if I heard that then, it would have fit perfectly for what I was doing and what the moment was to me because I, subconsciously without realizing was like, no doesn't mean the end all be all. No doesn't mean you stop there. It means you weren't ready yet. It means you need more practice on something, obviously, if you're trying to get a job or you're trying to do a new skill or whatever. You know, it doesn't mean it. You stop. It's over. Like no does not mean that. No just means next opportunity. So when I found that quote, which shout out to whoever said that originally, I just want to put that out there that I didn't come up with that. But I totally resonate with that and I think it's wonderful advice. Just to be like, never take the negatives bad. If you get rejected, hey, look at all the greats before us, like Walt Disney, I think, he got rejected, or Tim Burton, even. I'm a fan of Tim Burton. And I just recently watched some kind of thing on Netflix. I can't even remember what it was called. But he, little did I know, he actually did work for Walt Disney as a cartoonist, and his stuff was considered odd, obviously, because if you know Tim Burton's work, it is a little, out there, but I love that. And yeah, he was told like, what are you gonna really make of this? And yeah, I admire that. So, just when you're rejected, you might just become it and believe in yourself enough and you can truly do it. So I just wanted to share that, little gem of positivity so that you stay positive and don't give up because I know it's hard, especially right now. There's so many things. I feel like I have a giant no in my life overall sometimes, but it's just realizing that, you know, we obviously are in places where we are. And, as many have said to me before, you are exactly where you need to be. So, it's kind of like harboring, like with the spring, going back to that, it's like, there is something in bloom. There's something, a seed is in the soil and something is in bloom because it is that spring vibe. So, never give up on that. And it's also okay to say no and say, no, it's not a problem that I am very talented and I'm being recognized and appreciated for my hard work and my passions and my skills. And like I was saying before, when it comes to, getting into a play and somebody else getting upset about a part, I know these are silly, childish kind of things to bring up, but, I just wanted to reflect back on it because, just to remember these stories, but also have something so that, even like if my kids ever wanted to see, or ask advice or something, they can, watch the video or whatnot. And just for myself to remind myself, how far I've come. And then, of course, to remind you within reminding myself how far you've come. So it's just a win-win all around. And I really hope that, you're feeling positive and know that no and oh is completely okay. Especially when it comes to kind of self-care and self-love. People think that it's all, bougie baths with rose petals and spa days and, all these Zen things, which is great too. I incorporate those, I'm not gonna lie, and massages and all that stuff. But it also is, being able to have boundaries and keep them no matter what. Because another reason why I bring this up too is no matter what the odds are stacked against you. So no matter who it is, and it gets a little bit hard for me because, to be real, when it comes to certain family and things, that gets very hard, but you have to remember that your health, your mental health is important. And, I, look to other examples in my life where, you feel those rejections or those no's, and it doesn't always have to be a flat out no word. It can be just feeling like you're not heard or not accepted or wanted to be around. And that's fine because, in a sense, as I was speaking to somebody earlier, it's almost like its own blessing in disguise. They are saving you from a conflict, it's saving you from more heartache and heartbreak because, no presence is an absence. So you have the absent energy. You don't have to worry about, upsetting somebody or them upsetting you. So it's like, at the same time, yes, you have to get over things. We have to work through things. And I completely see that. But sometimes no and saying no and not wanting to be around things and stepping back, letting yourself kind of reflect and check in with yourself, be in tune because that's so important. So never forget that. Like I said, these are things that, I've personally gone through or that I am working on myself. And, yes, sometimes this is hard to speak about, but I think that is a really good outlet. And I know that, there may be some others that feel the same in the same situation. And to know that if you do resonate with me in any way, truly appreciate it. I really, admire and appreciate all the support that you guys have shown me over the years, 14 years on YouTube. I've mentioned this so many times, but it really does mean a lot and it makes me open up more. I mean, being on this platform and having these conversations and getting into these kind of things have really opened my eyes. And, doing types of shadow work, doing the shadow work, the inner work, has really been something, something else. And it hasn't been easy. Probably will make a video with the Moldavite experience and things, but, a lot of times and with my own experience, I'm working on, the toxic aspects of myself. So when I feel like when I'm personally doing that now, it's like, you see yourself as a mirror of others, and sometimes others may trigger you, and those triggers are really like that reflection of yourself that you see in someone else that's upsetting. Um, so it's been a little difficult and hard, but nonetheless, it is necessary for, overall self-improvement, overall, beneficial help to yourself, and just being able to truly be there for other people. Because as I do this work, I find more ways to kind of put myself more in those shoes, to kind of, really understand people on their level, and not let it kind of clash with my world, because that's what I'm working on. And we'll go into like a video together as well on, staying grounded and protected. I think that's really important, especially with the fellow empaths out there. It is really hard to kind of separate yourself. I come from a very long line of empaths and empathetic people who have very big hearts, that are healers. They are super healers, okay? I mean, when I tell you I have some very healing people in my family, it is 100% incredible. They do so sometimes even more beyond for others than they do for their own self. They're very selfless within that. So, but at the same time, with some of that can come a little bit of an imbalance of energies towards, being a complete whole and things like that, and kind of getting blinded by over goodness sometimes. But this is the power of saying, or the positivity of saying no and hearing no, and just knowing that, it's not a rejection. That rejections sometimes are something bigger than you, whatever you believe in, protecting you from, something that's not good for your higher self. So that's the way that I look at it. It's not always easy, it's hard. I know sometimes, like, I don't know, with this Pisces moon, new moon thing, it's like things want to go backward and kind of just, bring up the past. Oh, and then I remember, what it is, why a certain particular person was on my mind the other day. Interesting. Sorry, it just came to my head. Get a little zany sometimes. But yeah, know that no is just the next opportunity, that it's not a rejection, that it's okay to say it, because I, personally struggle with that myself sometimes. It is very hard to say. It's a very simple two-letter word, no, and it's translated, probably the same throughout many languages, um, as we know, but it is very pack a punch, very difficult, and it's a good word to have in your pocket, especially when you're not feeling very resonating with that, or you're not feeling like, perhaps you were directly, asked if you wanted to be involved by the person who was trying to communicate something. So, sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. But just being empowered and knowing that whatever situation you feel that you need to say no, that it is okay. That you are the person that is responsible for knowing when you need to say no and when you don't want to say no. And don't let anyone else's perceptions and, their energy that day influence that, because I know it's easy, for us to get so influenced by others, or feeling like, but it's not about what the other people think. And I'm actually reading a book, by Jen Sincero, who also brings up, it's called "You Are a Bad A at Boundaries," and I've only gotten halfway through it, but she also mentions that, to not be afraid, and you know what's right for you. And I know a lot of people, even myself on the other ends of things, I will often try to like put my, perspectives and my, vibrations and my potentials, into other people. And it's like, think back and just kind of realize that, we don't want that kind of thing back. But, also unwrap all those, like, you have to unwrap all those issues from the past too, that are like holding you back from wanting to say it comfortably, or wanting to say it when you need to say it. So just know that it's perfectly healthy, it's totally fine. um and it's very valid if you feel, like you need to take a step back and say no. Don't feel forced. Obviously, if you're under the age of 18, this is more for those who are an adult. But, as a child and as a teenager, depending on what it is, obviously you don't want to be disrespectful and rude. Pick your battles wisely, but sometimes it's okay to say no there too. And I respect that 100%. I really want, mine to know that, if they don't feel like something, then they, They can say how they're feeling and know that it's valid and it's okay and not feel forced. 'Cause I don't feel like that's good either, to feel like people have to be forced to kind of go into situations just because that's very difficult on the mental health system, especially if you are going through something. I know, because I am having a lot of reflections back to, when I was younger as a teen and things, and resonating with a few, teens that I know, and it is hard sometimes because it's like, you just feel like you have to do something because you have to do it, or because some people are saying that you have to, and this is the way that it's always been done, but that's not really a good excuse. So, I just wanted to kind of talk about that and, let you know that you have to listen within yourself. If your instincts, if your gut, is telling you no, you have to say no. No matter how hard it is, you have to say no. I'm doing this video for you. I'm doing this video for myself because it is hard. It is hard when it comes to certain things, certain situations. It's very hard. But what I see is I wouldn't be upset if somebody felt like they needed to say that to me. And I'm looking at that because it's like, okay, if I do say this, how, but I don't think about, that, because if you got to do it for yourself so that you don't have a crazy moment, or you don't feel like you're doing something that your body and soul is not wanting you to do, or you're not ready or whatnot, you have to stand by that and know that your gut instincts are so true and real, and they know what's up. So, no is not always a bad thing. No is not a bad word. No is, it has a lot of positives to it, because when you enforce no, for instance, when you need to let others know that you mean no, no, thank you, say it respectfully. But when you put that into perspective with others, then they either catch on and realize, like, hey, well, maybe they think about how they're acting, perhaps, if you're lucky enough, or maybe they just step back and go like, whoa. But the more that you enforce that, when those feelings come up in a respectful way, I mean, with all the right conditions and everything, I guess, depending on the situations, but really, it is the right situation. If the situation feels like it calls for no for you, it is correct and it is right, because you know your energy, you know your body, and you know what is good for you overall. So don't forget that, and know that, like I said, those who see this and that know what you're saying when you say, no, thanks. No, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not available for an energy dumping session today. No, I'm not, whatever it is, and you don't have to explain nothing. No, that's all. That's all no needs is no. And if people press you on that, they're not respecting you. I'm sorry. That's going to be very triggering and hard for people to hear. And it's scary for me to even say it, but it's true. Because if you think about that, I think about, what do I think of when people say no to me? I say, oh, gee, because I'm a people pleaser too. Ex in training, trying not to be anymore. But when people say to me, no, no, thank you. I've had moments where I said, oh my goodness sakes, why did you say no to me? Oh my God, what are they thinking? You get crazy about it. But I also realize, like, wow, I began to respect that. There were some people who opened my eyes to this that had very good boundaries. And I was just like, whoa, you're being ridiculous. So I thought. But I was being ridiculous because I was kind of being judgmental because I didn't have those boundaries set. I didn't have that. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I can respect that. I can get with that kind of no, I can really understand. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see how this works. That feels kind of good. It's a little spooky. It's a little shaky to do it. It really is. But I've seen the power that it has, and it does not mean that you're mean. It does not mean that you're a jerk. It doesn't mean you don't want to help. It does not mean that are anything bad. It just means that for you, it doesn't work for that moment. Two people's energies have to be aligned for things to kind of whatever kind of situation it has to be. And if it's not, it's only going to vibrate in a conflicting manner. It's only going to cause a chaotic burst in my mind. So to just lay it out and be like, nope, that's all it needs. I respect that. When people say it to me, nope. I say, okay, wonderful. And you either take it as it is and go along, or and say, okay, I respect that, or you question it and get kind of mean about it. And then where does that go? In your mind, if you're questioning why somebody's saying no, it doesn't matter. Just let it be. So no is okay. And I'm here to tell it to myself and to you. And then also, hearing no. That's a hearing no experience, the positives of hearing no. Okay. And then when you hear no from somebody else too, because this is just kind of like training into itself. So sorry if I am getting a little silly, but it's like you kind of realize, like, okay, now I can have this boundary within myself, perhaps. So it really teaches us a lot of things. And then you get empowered when you have a lot of people who respect your boundaries. You want to be around them. Don't you? Do you want to be around, somebody who doesn't want to, respect that you feel a certain way? I wouldn't, but also remember it goes both ways as well. So it's like, if you're going to be disrespectful to somebody, don't bother. But this is, no. So it's a wonderful word. It's a small word. It's a hard word. It's a powerful one. It's one that we either don't use enough, or perhaps you use it too often. You hear it from your mom. We go back to childhood. It's like, okay, your mom says no. Why is she saying no? No is positive. When it's your mom and she's telling you no, no usually is something that's keeping you from getting hurt. No is something that's keeping you from getting sick. You don't want to be eating too much candy, you know? No, honey, don't eat too much. You're protecting. It's a protection word, a word of protection. Um, you know? No. Or kids don't want to do something. No, I don't want to do that. I'm looking into my own situation with my kid myself. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, it's annoying to me, the mother, because I know, obviously when your kid's under 5 and under 18 in your roof, you're like, okay, listen, little one, you don't know. But at the same time, even in that instance when my kid is being bratty, I gotta hand it out, because no is a very good word to use. Even though we might not want to hear it. But that is a good sign for me, because it's like, okay, that's a little bit of learning boundaries. So even our youngest can learn how to set proper boundaries and say, no, no, you don't touch me. Or no, I don't want to do that. That's fine. Sometimes it's something they got to do, though. So you got to enforce it, depending, moms, parents, whatever. But, you know, no is a good word. It's a powerful word. It's something we should know from young on and not break that. I try to keep that in mind, that, yes, they're little, but I also want them to know that, I respect that you have a boundary that you want to put up, and that I try to work with that, learn it. And, as we grow as people, and as obviously when you grow from, a child into, teenage years, and then an adult and things, um, obviously you're going to grow with a lot of different things over time, and people are going to see you changing, and, depending on your relationships and interactions with them. But it is so good, because, when you don't say no, and you're saying yes to everything, and then you're saying no to yourself. Like, the moment you don't stick up and say no to something that you're not feeling resonates with your spirit and soul, and yours, I mean, not anyone else's, because I have done that a lot as well. And I'm here to be a messenger, because I feel like, wow, I guess I better just talk about this to keep it positive. But um you have every right. Think about what's in your mind, and what is your feeling on that. What is your vibe on boundaries, and check in with yourself. Don't, oh, but my mom thinks I should. No. But my dad said I should. No. Yeah, when you're a kid, I mean, consider those things. But even then, it's like, What are you saying in your spirit? What does your heart say? What does your soul say? It's going to be tough because people are going to feel like, you're maybe being something towards them. It has nothing to do with other people. It has everything to do with what is your vision. It's not about other one's visions because, everybody has visions. Everybody has a dream and a goal and like what they wish to do with their life, what they want to pursue. Maybe they wanted to follow in their family's footsteps and own, a store or something. Maybe they want to, become a painter or, become a policeman or whatever position that you might have. Um, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you wish to live with your life because you're only going to go back and look back and say, man, I really wish I listened to myself. And in the time period that I have been to, it's it's less like chaotic feeling when you say yes to everybody all the time and you're like, yeah, no problem. Nothing's bothering me. It's not a big deal. But it is. It just eats away at you secretly. Then you get secretly resentful towards people. Well, not secretly, but you kind of get that kind of stacking up like resentments and things, and it's just uncomfortable. So it's almost like better to just rip the band-aid off and set that boundary and say no. Rip the band-aid off and set that boundary and accept things for what they're going to be accept because I think like I wouldn't want somebody to just be like, "Oh, I'm pretending to like you." Yeah, you got to be a certain way, at work. You have to be kind of just like neutral, I would say. But I wouldn't bend and say, you know, whatever because that's the culture of work or whatever. You have to kind of stick to who you are and keep those boundaries way up. So that's basically my chit chat on the positivity of no, because I basically feel like I'm being so repetitive right now. And I feel like, the message is across. So, like I said, I'm not here to be triggering or anything. I'm not like a professional in this. And, if you don't agree or resonate, that's absolutely fine. I'm not here to have any disagreements or disgruntlements about it. Obviously, this is my YouTube channel. So, I just want to kind of express some things with you guys, but to keep it positive because it's something that clearly you can hear as I'm speaking about it is something that I struggle with, and I can only imagine, obviously, that others are struggling with it as well. And I've seen it so much, around me and all these like power dynamics and things, and sometimes it gets into that. Like, it's like certain people, when you come around and they're used to you being so low vibrational, low self esteem, not caring, not giving, putting yourself first and really respecting yourself when they're so used to you not caring and like I said not loving yourself at all, they're going to remember you that way and think that they can just overrule. They're going to keep treating you like you know they can boss you around perhaps, and you're a grown adult, but you have to stand up to that and say, listen, this is my no, and I don't have to explain why it's a no for me. It's just a no, and leave it at that. But also you what is it? You teach people how to treat you. And yes, like I said, it's very hard, especially when it comes to, certain situations like a family dynamics and things where, obviously these people are growing up around you. They've seen you grow, they've seen you go through these things in your life, but you have to remember that that's not it. Like, people are always growing and expanding and evolving, or they're not. And that's fine if they're not. And it's also fine if they are expanding and evolving. Like, I'm not going to leave off on the same page. Some people, are going to end up being left in your past, and it could be family and friends, oh well. But there's no negative feelings about it. It's just more of, people have outgrown each other. And I just saw this somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it. I think Readings by Vita. Shout out to the Almighty Pineapple. She is here on YouTube. So if you want to check out her page, um, but I think she had mentioned something that, and it's like those other memes that are like, I don't want you to sit at my table, but I still want to see you eat or something like that. And it is like that. It's like two people, may not be on the same wavelength. They may not particularly want to be, you know, on that same path or whatever, and let it be at that. There's no bad feelings. People just outgrow each other. You know, and people evolved to other levels, and it's not a level of being better or worse than anybody. It's just a level of growth that, you know, it's just doesn't meet at the same vibration anymore. So I just want to put that out there because, you know, it's something that people get very mixed. And sometimes people, you know, wonder, you know, why the cutoff? You know, why letting people go or not being around somebody, you know, all of a sudden? It's like some people just don't want to argue and fight. There's no reason to explain anything and just leave it at that. Leave it at, you know, we don't resonate anymore. We don't flow anymore. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I just, you know, just to let you know, and obviously keeping it respectful, like I'm never going to say negative things. You know, there are people who I'm not friends with anymore, and that is okay. I don't wish them, you know, I wish them well. And, you know, I still think positively of a lot of people that are no longer in my life anymore. A lot of people who I've had to say, no, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot, you know, we cannot be in each other's lives. And that is okay, no matter who it is, you know. And it's not a bad thing. You know, obviously if you're being disrespectful and you're like blah blah blah, you know, you're bad mouthing somebody or, you know, putting something on social media, like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just not really communicating. And the thing is, any one of these people could, you know, say, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever. I could see them on the street, and I'm not going to be disrespectful and rude. I'm gonna be kind, or I'm gonna be silent. It doesn't matter. My silence does not have to equate to you really want to pick a fight. No, it doesn't. Now I have an aunt that is very silent, you know, and that's I have learned from that. You know, I used to consider it like what the heck kind of a thing. But now I look at it and I see the perspective that it's just like a no, it's a boundary. I don't know what people have gone through in their life personally to feel the way that they feel. But I feel better and I forgive my own self and have my own set of boundaries when I say that I'm not upset about it. You know, it used to bother me. I used to go along with the, you know, other people who felt a little hurt because obviously family is the biggest people that hurt you. The people that you care about are probably the only ones that are going to hurt you because if you didn't care, they won't hurt you. Um, but you know, it really brought an understanding to me because now I don't sit there and question and say how this person is so wrong for doing that or why weren't they there enough for somebody because that is not my place. You know, you have to call it like you see it. And I, you know, have the utmost respect. It is annoying sometimes where if someone has a grudgy type of feeling and they don't even acknowledge your presence and they don't want to talk to you, but that is on them. And that is a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard thing to do. I wouldn't want to do that. It's very hard to hold grudges. Like I'm way too talkative and like passionate about things to do that. But at the same time, I don't get upset with people that do because they're showing you exactly what they feel. They're showing you exactly what how much they really even care. And so we can't get mad when people are showing us the truth of who they really are, as that's already has been said as well. Um, but I don't go crazy on those things, you know, and we cannot. All we can do is just know that, you know, we know what our no's are and we know what our yeses and let's go right with it, you know, and don't let anybody talk you out of it. So I just wanted to share that piece because, like I said, I respect everybody. You know, I really just I do, and that's the people pleaser part of me too. Is like I respect so many people. I'm really nice to some people that maybe I shouldn't even be so kind, you know, to. But um, you know, that's just the way to be, you know, peaceful, I guess. But I'm also learning that it's just as well you're being respectful too if you're just keeping it real. So, you know, you have to know that in life you're not going to be liked by everybody and that is cool. Just like my girl Vita. She always says that, you're not going to be liked by everybody. She's like, I'm not for everyone. And I agree with that. So shout out to you. Like I said, I want to give credit where credit is due. But it really does highly resonate because, in my journey, that's sometimes what I felt like, oh my goodness, how nobody doesn't not like me. It's like I just couldn't get that out of my head. Like, what? But I'm so nice. My family said, like, if you're so nice and you help everybody and da 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 da. But it's like it's not even like that. Because I rather not have everybody be for me because then that feels really fake. And then it feels like, is anyone really thinking or whatever? So I appreciate the ones that really truly do appreciate my input and just the kind of topics and things that I talk about on my channel and your support, as I've said. But it really means a lot, and it's really interesting to see how we're going to view and what you guys are going to think of my lives, these topics that we're bringing up. It has not been easy. This is not an easy topic, and it's not an easy thing to do, but I feel like it has to be said, and perhaps I can even learn something from it. So I'm just putting myself out there with this and, not bashing anybody because that is not what anything's about. So if it feels like it hits home for you in some kind of way, please don't feel like it's about you. Because if you feel like it's about you, then you're making it about you. We are our experiences and what we view into our realities. So I would say that, be mindful of that, mindful of your own energy, what is real to you, know yourself, and you will not be triggered. Or if it's a trigger, it's as the universe guru has also mentioned, because I'm learning from that as well, um, that, the triggers are the things that we need to work on. And I think I mentioned that a little bit already. But like I said, I will throw out names or like quotes or whatever if I know where things are coming from, if I'm kind of like reflecting back to it. But um you know, there's that. So I hope you guys are having a very positive day and, really just speaking your truth, being positive, and being in flow and in essence with who you really are in your soul, listening to what you feel and love in your heart, having conversations, learning, not judging or discarding anybody, and their thoughts and everything like that. And perhaps listening, because I know that often we don't listen enough because we've all got so much to say. But listen to someone today perhaps, and maybe even listen to your own intuition, because that's a big one that we must do a little bit more. Sorry, I'm like dusting things off. But yes, I really appreciate everybody that stopped by on this live as it was going. If you are making it this far to the live, it is coming to a conclusion here, a close. But I really do appreciate anyone who has stopped by to check out this video. Like I said, I hope you guys are having a very positive day. Know that no is not a bad thing. For what is, the dualities of life, the yin and the yang, the shadow through the light, because we can't have shadow without light, I suppose, right? So yes, just being within all of that and radiating the love and positivity within yourself to others. So I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, thank you for watching along. I've got lots of new topics and things to talk about. So if you've got something that you may want to hear from me, or perhaps you want to just have a discussion, feel free to come check me out. I will try to do lives. Let's see, it's usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So check me out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays here on the Broken Rose, and we will be getting into some really awesome topics. Anything you guys want. I am a mother, of course, so I'm going to get into my child stories, like the birth stories and different phases of that and everything. But I just wanted to touch base. I really felt the need to kind of get on and talk about this story. So hope you enjoy, and we will catch you in the next live and the next video. Until next time, Basils and Bubbles. Really appreciate it, guys. And don't forget to hit that like button or the dislike button because it's all engagement and I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe because I am posting new videos. If you feel really inclined, hit that notification bell for more updates on videos because you just don't know what we're going to be doing. I could be singing, poetry, talking about topics. You never know. I'm a plethora of fun. That is the variety of spice. The light variety of spice. The variety variety is the spice of life. That's what I'm trying to say. Variety is the spice of life after all. All right, you guys. Peace. Have an awesome day.